Welcome back to Pearlmania500, the only podcast where a husband and wife duo just are nice to each other.
Yeah.
They're just very nice.
They're just nice.
Neither of them.
This is a nice podcast.
Yeah, a nice podcast.
About nice things.
And nice people who are just nice to each other.
Wow.
They definitely don't bring up topics that would make each other concerned,
Upset.
depressed.
Nope.
No.
Never.
Instead, we are just two people who like to sit here. Give me your hand.
Okay, let's hold hands.
We sit here and we talk about how to keep a marriage going in a godly, traditional way. So sit back and relax. Get your best cup of herbal tea. That definitely is not part of a white supremacist call.
Do not put caffeine in it. Caffeine is of the devil.
Caffeine free, okay? And then sit back and listen to the next 2 hours as the Pearlmans, deeply religious Christian couple, explains to you the path forward through our Lord and Savior.
There's a place where you can't stay when the world gets too insane. Yeah, when the world gets too inane, tune in to Pearlmania. Brony talks and pony jars and saying a sonic race just fitness scams and grifters, damn, and various other miscellanea. So there's this place where you can stay to let those Pearlmans save ya. Pearlmania, Pearlmania, Pearlmania 500. Take it away, Pearlmans, and remember to smile.
Thank you so much to His Name Was Dusk, as always, for our theme song. Check the show notes, and you can see about where you can find more information on His Name Was Dusk. Also, our P.O. Box. We don't mention it that often.
Yeah, it's there.
It's down there in the show notes.
Fun stuff pops up.
Yeah, and we get mailed some fun stuff every now and then. Somebody sent us a baby pillow.
Yeah, there was no card.
We don't know who it's from.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
I'm assuming that's because they're from the podcast. I'm
Yeah,
assuming they're a
I guess
podcast
so.
listener. We don't really post it too much on like the TikTok side of things or the Instagram side of things. I think it's in my link tree.
Also, I got
but
a good book. I got a couple books that came in. I got one about a murder bot. It was pretty cool. I posted about it on the Instagram.
I like it. Honestly, I just like getting postcards.
Yeah,
It's actually kind of cool. Like, because sometimes people will send us like a letter and there'll be some stickers and stuff in there and they'll read it and it's like, hey,
That's nice.
Yeah, like we got one letter. I don't want to pick on anyone in particular, but I got one that basically was like, hey, I have a boring day job and I listen to you guys every Monday. And
Yeah.
it just makes me happy. And I was
nice.
like, aw,
I like that.
aw.
It's nice. But yeah, that exists.
Yeah, I'm just glad somewhere out there in the gray corporate world where people are sitting at desks wondering why the fuck they're working in person.
Yeah.
They're listening to your and my voice as we scream. Just scream.
Just scream about anything, really. Wait till you hear about what I'm screaming about today.
Yeah, but real quick, I did ask you before we even did this episode.
Okay.
It's been weeks since I've been able to hit this button. Can I please hit this button before we even go into the Hey Huns, before we even go into anything else? Can I please hit this button? Am I allowed to hit the button?
I am pretty sure, 99% sure that you can hit the button.
And that's a no Nazi guarantee.
A guarantee we couldn't have during the Ouija board episode.
No,
shockingly
no.
enough.
Weirdly not. A lot of swastikas on a Ouija board.
Oh no.
But with that being said, a couple announcements. The vote has been up now for a couple days.
The book vote.
The book vote.
There's a strong lead.
There's a very strong lead.
I didn't know our listeners were so horny.
Yeah, and the thing is, and we've been reading the comments on the Patreon, and a few people have said that what's the book called? A Court of Thorns.
Thorn and Roses.
Yeah, I put in parentheses horny.
Yeah.
Because when I was reading the description, I'm like, oh, this book is horny.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people in the comments,
They were like, it's not.
It's not.
It's
they're like,
the
it's not
least horny.
They're like, it's not that horny. to you, listener. Because I love y'all, but some of y'all freaks when it comes to your books, okay? Some of y'all like,
You call that horny?
How many holes are stuffed? Not enough, not horny. I'm like, yo, dial it back. But there is definitely a clear front runner. If you would like to make changes to who is currently leading the pack, go ahead and join our Patreon and you can hop in there. We're going to leave that poll up for another week.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave that up through Wednesday the 18th.
I got to put a hold on that book at the library because it's hella popular.
Well, that was what was crazy is after we put up that poll, you and I went to Target.
Yeah.
And Target had it.
Yeah, of course.
And they had the whole series.
I know.
I was like, oh, this is that type of smut.
Yeah.
Because the same way like Walmart sells Harlequin romance novels.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a level of...
You don't even know. You didn't even read. I read all of the Goodreads reviews. I have a better understanding of what this is about based on that, and I'm so excited for you to read it.
Yeah, you're excited for me to read this horny smut book?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Speaking of reading, we will say that this week, on Wednesday, October 18th, we are also going to release a new episode.
Why are you trying to touch me?
Of Mrs. Pearlmania's book club. Oh. It's been a while.
Yeah.
But you've read a couple books, and now you finally have one that you really want to do an episode on.
I have one I think it would be fun to talk at you about.
Yes.
And I think you'll have a bad time, and I think the bad time is what makes it fun for me and the listeners.
And ed-tober.
Yeah. No, well, I guess everything could fall within that, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's why...
It was supposed to be spooky.
Was the book spooky?
No... But I thought it was spooky, but then it wasn't spooky.
Okay. Well, this has happened to you before where you thought a book was about werewolves, and in fact, it was just about abuse.
I know.
So,
these people really got to write the back of book covers better.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's probably me.
This is why I usually don't read fiction.
Yeah.
Because, I usually like to be like, okay.
I just want to read about historical events.
I like the stats to be in the thousands.
Gross.
Yeah, okay.
I want to read about owlbears.
Owl
and the Mothman.
Owl bears?
That's what I said.
You said owl bears.
Okay.
Your hokey mouth.
Okay.
I want to read about owl bears. Sound like you're saying our bears.
You know what? I'm not going to say it again because no matter what, I'm going to overthink it.
Yeah.
This is going to be like towels all over again.
About what?
Not saying it again.
Crayons?
Crowns?
There we go. All right. So we do have some hey huns and some team leads.
Let's go.
To give some shout outs to. So let me hit that noise.
Hey, hon. Let's meet our team leaders.
All righty. You ready for them? There's quite a few.
Yeah.
Starting off, and here's the one thing I love about this week.
Okay.
No messages telling me that the name on the screen is actually a different name.
Okay.
I really do appreciate. Listen, y'all, I love you guys so much. I understand that sometimes Patreon is difficult, but when you guys just get it right in Patreon, that makes me feel so good. So that way I don't have to write down a side sheet of paper. So thank you guys so much. So we're going to start off here with Peach.
Hey, hon.
After that, this next person did message me and it said, I have faith that you can pronounce this correctly.
I know what that first word is, and I'm excited to hear you try to get it right.
Yeah. Let's give a hey hun shout out to Sandoval Sailboat.
Yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
Do you know who the Sandoval is?
No.
Were you on that side of TikTok?
No.
That was a Real Housewives offshoot from the E! News channel.
Oh, okay.
There was this guy, Sandoval, and he cheated on his long-term girlfriend on the reality show.
Oh.
And everybody in the whole world turned on him because he's a huge bag of shit. And it took over TikTok and social media.
Does he have a boat?
I guess so. I didn't watch that one. It was like an offshoot. It was like, so the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, there's just one gal on there that's super rich. And then she owned restaurants because that's a great way to hide money. And then she got reality shows about her restaurants where they followed the staff around. And that show, there's a guy named Sandoval who was like a bartender or whatever.
Okay.
And then they got an offshoot of that show where like these other people started their own restaurant. And I was like, I can't watch shows about restaurants.
No, but here's the thing is that's why I Love New York.
Yeah.
Remember? Because I Love New York was a spinoff from the Flavor Flav dating show, which was a spinoff of the Surreal Life.
Yep.
I love a reality show that is so far from the original plot.
Yeah.
Where at each show they just find one part like you're getting your own fucking
like,
2 seasons.
Guess what, Tila Tequila? I'm sure this won't go downhill.
Yeah. All right. Well, that one, wind that one back. All right. All right. You ready for our next one?
Yeah.
All right, let's give a big shout out to A_Shadowmage_in_the_Pearlmania_war.
Oh no, not the Pearlmania War.
Yeah, the Pearlmania Wars of 2023.
No more wars. We're cool.
No, all right.
Hang on.
But big shout out to the Shadow Mage there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you for making your name long enough that I had to click on another screen.
I appreciate that. I do.
This next one I love. Let's give a big shout out to biblically_accurate_possum.
Yeah, it's a big ring with lots of feathers and eyeballs.
Yeah.
That's what possums look like in the Bible.
I think my favorite thing about possums, or opossums, as they're also known, is that there's a lot of them in Philadelphia.
There are.
It feels like a possum feels very much like a wood rural creature.
Yeah, no.
But then there's just a shit ton of them in the city.
In the city, roll deep.
And they'll just hiss
and they
at
don't
you.
give a fuck. And then Pearlman over here gets upset with me because when we were still living in the city, I would just be like, leave them the fuck alone. They're busy doing their job. And he's like, oh, you got to kick them out of the yard. I was like, they eat bugs.
Yeah, they're eating ticks.
They eat ticks and fleas and mosquitoes. Leave them. Let them do whatever they want back there.
Yeah, except when you see them,
they're real. They're not cute.
No, but people be like, oh, they play dead. But you always hear like playing dead. Playing possum.
Not in Philly, they don't.
No, they're like, they're literally, one of them looked me dead in the face, was like gentrifier. I was like, yo, what? Raggedy ass teeth.
The possums have to deal with a lot of shit in the city.
Yeah, so let's go biblically accurate possum.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have Rose de Filippo.
Hey, hon.
Or Rose de Filippo. However, I probably, I'm going to try both.
Okay.
After that, we have Charles Alexander.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have Casper.
Oh, with Devin Sawa.
Yeah. Devin Sawa.
Devin Sawa.
You said that so fast. So Casper actually messaged us to let us know that this is their real name.
Shut the fuck up.
They're like, I'm not doing this because it's spooky.
Oh my God.
Though in October, Casper reaches their ultimate form.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
Let's hear it for Casper.
Well, shout out Christina Ricci. Shout out to your parents.
Shout out to Devin Sawa. You said
Devin Sawa.
It rolled. It rolled so hard. That was the thing, is you were just so Devin Sawa. All right. So this, as we talked about the Pearlmania500 with the book vote and everything else.
Yeah.
I_joined_2_vote_4_ACOTAR.
Yeah, that's what they call it on the book top.
Yeah. A kotar.
Kotar.
A court of thorns and roses.
Yeah, I love it. They joined just to make you read that book.
Just to vote for that. Yep.
Perfect.
And
wow, holy moly.
This is the longest name we've ever had. I just clicked on it.
Wow.
There's no underscores. It's all one word.
Yeah, that means you better take a deep breath before you say it. Because
I need Alex to read a court just to listen to it. Literary analysis is on the series, and it was amazing.
I am obsessed with everyone's...
Back to back.
I am obsessed with everyone's enthusiasm for this book.
Yep.
Hey, hun.
After that, we have Blue Chew _man_group.
The Blue Chew Man group. Oh my God, that is very Gene on Halloween from Bob's Burgers Coded.
Yes.
Very Gene from Bob's Burgers Halloween. I love that.
After that, we have...
I just pictured him, and he's completely painted blue, but he has a boner.
Right, that's a child, babe.
I know.
It's a child.
Wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah.
He's been the same
Say
age.
Eugene Merman.
Eugene Merman.
Yeah, there you go. Eugene Merman is blue with a boner. Hello, I am the blue
Andre the Giant 3000.
Okay. After that, we have Turt Burglar.
Turt Burglar, hey, hun.
After that, oh man, I got to click on this one. This is another long one. After that, we have Fishbine's fave gas station wench. Oh my God.
Shout out to Fishbine.
Yo,
shout out to
Fishbine.
his family. Shout out to his wench.
I just want to say, at this point, slowly the podcast is going to become unlistenable to new listeners.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, who the fuck is Fishbine? You're like, all right, 39 episodes ago.
Yeah.
After this, we have All Glory to the Hypnotoad.
Hey, hun. Wait, isn't that from...
All glory to the Hypnotoad. All glory to the Hypnotoad.
Hey, hun.
It's from Futurama 5.
Yeah.
Futurama. One of my favorite moments ever was when I was doing comedy at an anime convention. Shut up. Stop judging me. Shut up. They had a room that was just playing the Hypnotoad clip over and over again. But every now and then, it had these random like fake subliminal message moments popped in.
Okay.
And we realized it was on a 12-minute loop.
All right.
So like you would know like, oh, in a second, like this random image would play. So I was just like sitting there hammered. It's like 2:00 in the morning in this one room in this old hotel room. Okay. And it's playing.
Really painting a picture.
I'm sitting alone. And then slowly people come on, what are you doing? I'm like watching the Hypnotoad. And then other people would sit down. Before you knew it, because people were bored and no one else had like, charisma, I slowly built a whole following behind the Hypnotoad.
He almost started yet another cult.
It was very close. And then it changed and started playing anime music videos of Lady Gaga mashed up with Naruto.
Oh, right. And that's when he lost all of his followers.
Yep, because I don't really understand Naruto that well. I never really got into it. But all glory to the Hypnotoad. And we have 2 more left. We have Nikki Ann.
Hey, hon.
And lastly, we have not matzo ball soup, but soup nonetheless.
Yeah, let's go. Today's soup is butternut squash, babes. We're doing butternut squash soup still these days.
Ooh, butternut squash days?
Yeah, yesterday was all Brussels sprouts. Today's butternut squashies.
Is that the plan for this evening?
Yeah, maybe that and a farmer's market trip after this.
Okay.
I got thoughts.
Okay.
I got ideas.
So we're getting real basic coded.
I stay basic coded.
But anyway,
I'm just like other girls.
But anyway, real quick, the Trad Wife does want to shout out to all of the Hey Huns team leads and feds.
Hey Hun, let's meet our team leaders.
All right, well, that's been our intro. Our intros are getting longer and longer, but we're having more and more fun during
I had a great time.
Now, we do have a very special episode. We were able to hit there. There are no Nazis. However, I feel like because I think I know kind of what this is about, maybe we should give like a little bit of a heads up.
I'm gonna make some warnings.
Yeah, do you want to do the warnings before we do the bump?
Yeah, we gotta do the warnings. Okay, so as I stated a couple episodes ago, I want, as part of ed-tober, because it's not spooky ooky anymore, it's just about things that are fucked. And so I want to talk about and explain to you who Gypsy Rose Blanchard is.
Okay.
Okay. The thing about this is, when it comes to warnings, child abuse, medical abuse, just really bizarre and awful abuse towards a child. And it has a lot to do with medical stuff. So if like that skeeves you out, if what I would call like body horror skeeves you out, like the things that are happening like surgically to bodies, it freaks you out, then this might be the episode to skip because there's no getting around it.
Yeah.
All right.
What if it freaks me out?
Oh, you're stuck here.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to take a break and emotionally prepare myself for this.
Take a couple deep breaths.
Hi, listeners. This is Alex jumping in about 24 hours later after we recorded this episode, had a sleep and a discussion about it so we could really think about what happens during this episode. Mrs. Pearlmania and I want to repeat the content warning. The story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, involve child and medical abuse. It is a very difficult listen. Just finding out the information can be very difficult for some people to hear. And we do want to reiterate the warning that we just said. I also just want to make it very clear that this isn't the type of topic we usually cover, and it probably won't be something that we'll be covering moving forward. We know that you listeners out there listen to these episodes in many different settings, whether it's at your job, in your car, when you're doing dishes, mowing the lawn. I want you to be prepared for the content that you're about to hear. If you don't want to listen to this, we completely understand. Next episode's content will be much lighter, and we're going to try to bring a little bit more levity to things. This is very dark. This content will be very dark, running until about the 1 hour mark. The second half of this episode, it gets better. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying her story ends well, but it does get slightly better. We've also chosen not to run ads due to the subject matter of this episode, and Mrs. Pearlmania and I feel very strongly that this is a really, really rough one. So we wanted to warn you, take your time, prepare yourself, and then sit back. So this is me 24 hours after hearing this information. I want to let you know, and we want to let you know, I don't think a lot of people would be prepared for this one. So with that being said, here's the rest of the episode.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania
500. All right, Mrs.
Yeah.
P, the floor is yours.
All the enthusiasm right before I break your spirit.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to talk about today is two main characters. Okay?
Okay.
We're going to talk about Dee Dee Blanchard.
Okay.
And her daughter, Gypsy Rose.
Okay.
Okay. So I wanted to start a little bit about Dee Dee because we need to know kind of who she is before she has a child. So Dee Dee Blanchard was born Claudine Peter, spelled Pitre.
Claudine?
Claudine.
She got Dee Dee from that.
I guess the Dean became Dee Dee.
Is it pronounced Dee Dee?
Yeah, I think so because she's from Louisiana.
Okay, so she's a Dee Dee.
Yeah. And they're all from New Orleans area. A lot of thick accents.
Nolans?
Yeah. Don't do that.
Nolans?
Nope, that's bad for you.
I can't say Nolans?
That's bad for you.
Okay.
She was born in 1967.
Okay.
And grew up Dee Dee. She grew up one of 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
Parents' name were Claude and Emma.
Okay.
They both got big French names I can't pronounce. And so let's see here. So relatives recall that Dee Dee had a habit of stealing from her family, which they speculated was always in a form of retaliation. So when things didn't go her way, Dee Dee would find ways to steal from her family members or hurt her family members. She just generally had this type of bad vibe. It's just out the gate. Okay.
Gotcha.
At some point in her early adult life, she worked as a nurse's aide.
Okay.
Okay. In 1997, her family expressed suspicions that they could never prove that when her mother died, when her mother died, it was because Dee Dee was denying her food.
Oh.
So
the family believes that she starved her own mom to death.
Yes.
Okay.
They can never prove it. There was no way to find out, I guess. It was all very vague and gray, but the family really was suspicious. They had a lot of suspicions, but they could never prove anything.
Okay.
Also, Dee Dee had criminal charges multiple times from her family because she opened up credit cards in her father, her grandfather, and her mother's name and ran up large bills and debts.
You know who recently did that?
Who?
George Santos.
Oh, right.
That's what he's being accused of by federal
financial
prosecutors.
exploitation of
So
the elderly.
So Dee Dee Blanchard and George Santos, the congressman from New York.
Yeah.
Same person.
Yep. Honestly.
Allegedly.
So when Dee Dee was 24, she became pregnant by a guy named Rod Blanchard. She's 24. He was 17.
Oh, gross.
They named their daughter Gypsy Rose because Dee Dee liked the name Gypsy and Rod was a huge Guns N' Roses fan.
Oh my God. All right.
I love when we find out people's reason for naming their kids stuff.
It's so good.
It's always so wild. My mom named me after a soap opera star. Someone in a soap opera that she liked.
I was half named after my grandfather. Well, my grandfather's name was Albert.
Yeah.
And then he died before I was born.
Yeah.
And my dad was like...
You could have been a Bert.
I could have been a Bert. And that was the thing.
Incredible.
When my dad was like, what about Albert? My mom was like, so he can get bullied his whole life? His whole life? You want little Albert running around here?
Albert Pearlman.
So she
Bert Pearls?
she split the baby. She kept the Al.
Okay, I see what you did.
And then she added on to it.
Smart.
And that's how we ended up with Alex.
So shortly before Gypsy Rose's birth in 1991, the couple separated when Rod realized that he got married for the wrong reasons.
Because he was 17.
He was 17 and got a grown woman pregnant.
Yeah. He's like, I'm really into the new Terminator movie. And she's like, yeah, I have to pay Social Security.
He resisted Dee Dee's many efforts to get him to return. And she ended up taking the newborn daughter to live with her family. So she went back to her family to...
Who hate her.
Who
desperately hate her.
Yeah. They don't like her. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
They don't like her. By the time Gypsy was 3 months old...
Hold on.
Okay.
They accused her of starving her own mother to death.
Yep.
I'm going to say her family hating her.
Yeah.
Not really too much of a jump there.
No.
I mean, we can argue over greatly disliked versus hate.
Yeah.
But if I was like, hey, see that person over there? They starved their own mother to death. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, you hate them, right? Yeah. Usually you hate somebody for starving their own mom to death.
Families are weird.
Families are weird.
Families are weird. And also she, committed financial crimes against them and they still let her live with them. So.
Well, that's because blood's thicker than water, baby, down here in Nolans.
What's the rest of that sentence? How's it go?
Blood is thicker than water, except in matters of taste.
There it is. Okay, so when Gypsy was 3 months old, her mother was convinced that she had sleep apnea and began taking her to the hospitals for repeated overnight stays for sleep monitoring. Tests found no signs of this condition.
Okay.
Dee Dee subsequently became convinced that Gypsy had a wide range of health issues, which she attributed to an unspecified chromosomal disorder. And at a certain point, Dee Dee claimed that Gypsy had muscular dystrophy and started making her use a walker. So like between the ages of 3 months old and like 5, she was like, you need to use a walker.
Oh,
because
wow.
you have this disease, right? Gypsy stated that when she was 7 or 8, she was riding on her grandfather's motorcycle when she was involved in a minor accident where she obtained an abrasion on her knee. So I want to shout out Grandpa here. We got to keep 7 and 8-year-olds off of motorcycles, y'all. Okay?
Yeah. And this is the reason why he deserved to have his identity stolen.
No. Now, after this accident where she obtained a small abrasion on her knee, her mother stated that doctors had given her a wheelchair that she needed to use now permanently. So this was the catalyst for using a wheelchair. Now, the thing is about these medical records, they're all very vague, okay? Because Dee Dee is going to different doctors all the time. She's going to different hospitals, different doctors. She's driving far places. She's, saying that her daughter's having all these issues. And so it's really hard to pin down exactly specifics about everything, right? It's just really hard to pin down, especially because like you can't pull it. It's like there's HIPAA laws. Yeah. So nobody can really pull a lot of
And it's also like you're not going to send out a thing to every doctor. Be like, did you treat this girl?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So Gypsy often went with her mom to Special Olympic events. And like they would go as like a guest because she was in a wheelchair. She wouldn't like race or anything.
Yeah.
But she was often like, when she was little, Dee Dee would get tickets and go to the Special Olympics, or sometimes they'd get tickets for free so she could be in the audience. Okay. Also, this is right around the time, 7 or 8, when Dee Dee starts lying about Gypsy's age. So like when she was 8, she was 10, she would say she was 8.
Okay.
Unless they needed it for a specific reason for her to be older, then she'd be like 10. But like she was always underaging her on purpose. And she started making fake birth certificates.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. So Dee Dee is lying about the medical conditions that her daughter has. Mm-hmm. She's lying about her age. Mm-hmm. She's now making up fake birth certificates. Why?
Okay, that's such a simple question. I don't have any simple answers. So Gypsy stopped going to school after the 2nd grade.
Okay.
So possibly earlier, even kindergarten. Again, they don't have the school records, and I'll get into why. Yeah. But she was homeschooled after 2nd grade. Okay. And actually, in court documents, Gypsy stated that the highest her education ever went was 2nd grade.
Okay.
So her mom, in air quotes, homeschooled her, but Gypsy even says there was no homeschooling.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything.
Yeah.
She just was going to medical doctors and stuff.
Yeah.
So this was all because her mom's saying that these illnesses are so severe that she can't possibly go to school, right? Because like her immune system's compromised, so she can't be around all these kids, and she has all these doctor's appointments, yada, yada, yada. What maybe we would say now, a decade or so later, is that Dee Dee's trying to isolate Gypsy as much as possible so that nobody can figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gypsy did manage to learn how to read, though.
Oh, well,
guess how she learned how to read?
How?
She read the Harry Potter books. She taught herself to read.
Honestly, that's shocking. It's shocking that, it's the Deep South controlling mom. I'm assuming there's also probably some Christian crazy stuff sprinkled in there a little bit.
Not too much.
But with the homeschooling and stuff like that.
But no, I'm telling you, like, because I was like, I wonder, like, there's like some touch of like, I'm sure they went to church on Sundays. I'm sure that they engaged, but they never seem to be deeply religious. And I'm assuming that's because, again, when you're really involved in a religion, there's a lot of eyes on you.
Gotcha. Yeah,
you know
because
I mean?
you don't want to be in only one place for too long because people start to put the story together.
They got to be.
But I think in general though, again because of the control factor, because a lot of people forget in the early 2000s how often there were Harry Potter book burnings because of magic and wizards and witches and all this different shit, and it's a demonic source. Now those same people love Harry Potter because she's a TERF, and I bring this up all the fucking time. It's so weird, but I'm actually kind of shocked it was Harry Potter.
Yeah, you know what? Dee Dee didn't. So there was an interview with Rod, the ex that I watched, and he said that something that made him very uncomfortable is that he felt that Dee Dee was into some weird, dark shit. Like Dee Dee was really into like witchcraft. He thought it was weird. She had a pet tarantula. Like Dee Dee herself was a very like
she's like an
gothy gal.
She's an alt girly.
So I don't think that she had an issue with Harry Potter. And I think that based on the information, I think that Gypsy really wanted to read Harry Potter, and it might have been the only way that she could convince her mom to help her read it.
Okay.
And so that was the thing that she could convince her to let her read.
Gotcha.
Right?
It's interesting though, because when you picture things like this, especially like, again, I'm already creating stereotypes in my head.
Yeah.
Having that alt girly type of lifestyle, like that makes you throw that in there.
Now Rod I have to say something about Rod. I watched all these interviews with Rod. He has the thickest like deep Louisiana accent.
Okay.
Like, the ones where like when you hear like Creole and you're like, what in the marbles are you saying? And I can't say shit because I got a bad accent myself.
You do have a bad accent, but there's sometimes listen.
when certain people from Louisiana get going and that Creole French Southern thing happens and they're talking to each other fast, you're like, how could anyone know what you're saying?
Yum, 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 yum.
And so Rod has that. So like watching his interview is very funny.
So is it when you're watching the interviews though, they do like the thing what they used to do on Swamp People where they would go and just, even though the person's speaking English, they still put subtitles?
No, they didn't put subtitles.
They didn't give you subtitles?
Sadly. I was like, pause, rewind. What'd he say?
Yeah, because there was times in with Swamp People, which was on History Channel, I think. Because God forbid.
Duck Dynasty?
No.
Oh.
There was another show called Swamp People. And it was just about like these families living in the swamp. And I don't even know if it was Florida swamp. I think it was like Louisiana, Alabama swamps.
Okay.
Like Mississippi swamps. And they'd be down there. I remember this one where like a guy had like a cut right under his eye. And he said, I'm a doctor. And like, I was like, what'd he say? And then they replayed it later with the subtitles. He said, I don't trust no doctors. And I was like, you go to your job via fan boat. Like, and your job is...
Man's living the dream.
Your job is stealing alligator eggs. Like, this is crazy. Like,
yeah. Well, they're not stolen. What are they, the government's? Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I'm coming down here gonna get me a Swamp People tax on you alligators.
Gypsy's father, Rod, remarries. Dee Dee moved again. Dee Dee's moving a lot, and it's hard to track. Dee Dee moves in with her father and stepmother at this point. So Dee Dee's mom had died. Her dad got remarried to her stepmom.
Okay.
And so Dee Dee moves back in with her father and stepmother at this point. And here's what happens: the stepmother gets really sick, and they start to believe, the family, that Dee Dee was poisoning the stepmother's food because they witnessed her using Roundup weed killer.
Okay.
And then in the kitchen. And so they believe that Dee Dee was slowly poisoning her stepmom's food because she got really, really sick while she was leaving there.
She's doing a squirt of Roundup on the lady's food?
Roundup in the food. And so
Jesus.
Also during this time, Dee Dee was arrested for several minor offenses, including writing a lot of bad checks. Like all over. She would drive to different towns with bad checks. And the grandparents began to regularly confront her about how she was treating Gypsy. They were seeing a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
And this is like, again, she has 5 brothers and sisters, and they're in and out.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it too, and they're like, what's going on with Gypsy? Like, this is crazy. And so people are starting to express their suspicions, their concerns, blah, blah. Also, the whole time, the stepmother's health is like severely deteriorating. And everybody's kind of like out openly suspecting Dee Dee of, poisoning her food.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, these are the same people who are like, she definitely starved mom to death.
Yeah, maybe, potentially, allegedly.
Yeah.
So Dee Dee abandons ship and takes Gypsy, and they move to a suburb of New Orleans. And after they move out, the stepmother's health returns within months, and she's completely better. So again, very like Sixth Sense, the Pine Sol situation.
Yeah, Roundup though.
Fucking Roundup,
Imagine,
dude.
like,
you gotta hate somebody.
Yeah,
I won't even put Roundup on our lawn.
I'm treating you
because I don't hate the frogs in our neighborhood that much.
I'm treating you the same as I hate thistles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
You're being killed by plant runoff.
No way.
That's fucking crazy.
So when she moved...
Here's what I'm wondering. All right, here's the thing. If you were a poisoner and you're using Roundup, do you buy the squirt bottle each time? The like the $10 squirt bottle?
Yeah.
Or do you spend $25 and get the big jug that you can use to refill?
Oh my God.
I mean, listen. How much Roundup does it take to kill a lady?
I don't...
Clearly, Dee Dee didn't know.
Dee Dee didn't know.
She just knew how to make somebody sick.
It's also like you can't have too much in the food because then they're definitely going to taste it.
Yeah.
So you got to put a little bit.
Got a little squirt.
A little touch.
A little touch of the Roundup.
A little touch of the Roundup.
Do you think every time she squirted it, she was like, giddy up?
Oh my God. So what if the sponsors on this episode
are Monsanto?
Monsanto.
You have
Whoopsie daisies.
You have tough weeds coming up in your sidewalk?
You got a stepmom you don't like?
Roundup.
So they move out and they move into public housing, and they mostly paid their bills using Rod's child support checks and public assistance that Dee Dee got because of Gypsy's medical condition. So she applied her for SSI because she was disabled, and so they got a check for that as well.
So she's now getting free money from the government because her daughter is disabled.
Yes.
Okay. And her daughter is disabled because mom has gone to so many doctors to build a case medically that she's disabled.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, at this point, when they move to this suburb, they are spending almost all of their time seeking treatment for all of her numerous medical issues. So every other day, they're driving to some medical facility, to specialists, to all this stuff. So so what would happen is every time Dee Dee would take Gypsy to a new doctor, she had like a printed out sheet of like, these are her things. And it reminds me of like back when I was working in the industry, like people would have like a business card, be like, these are my allergies. And they would just hand it to you.
Yeah.
And it'd be like eggs, soybeans. And you're like, I gotta go get yelled at by a line cook now. Cool. But I understand as an allergy person, it's important to like say it. But when people come in with the list, you were like, oh no, not the list.
Yeah.
So this is what was written on the list.
Okay. And it's a handwritten list or a printout? Or?
It was a printout. There were some handwritten notes added to it. Asthma, epilepsy, hearing impaired, vision impaired, GI reflux causing throat issues, mental retardation, quadriplegia, muscular dystrophy, anemia, leukemia, incontinence, lung disease, and a heart murmur. So over the course of what has now been many years, she has built up that her daughter has all of these diseases.
All of these things.
And this is when...
And yet is somehow still alive.
Yeah.
Because like some of these things would cancel each other out to the point of death.
So I know I haven't said it yet, but this is the point where we discuss the fact that it is believed that Dee Dee had Munchausen's by proxy. So Munchausen's by proxy is a mental illness that takes its form in child abuse.
Okay.
All right. So it's the caretaker of a child, statistically, most often a mother, will make up fake symptoms or purposely cause real symptoms to make it look like the child is sick.
Gotcha. Okay.
So an incredibly terrible version of child abuse. Okay. So one thing is that like when she would go to a specific doctor, she would make up specific lies about her medical history. So like if she went to took Gypsy to see a cardiologist, she would tell them, oh, well, we have a family history of heart attacks.
Okay.
And if she was at a lung specialist, she would say, oh, well, we have a family history of asthma and lung cancer, right? Things like that. So she was always she was always like masterminding the dialogue and the background, and things weren't checked because, there are big, huge cracks that people fall into in the medical industry. But also like she was always going to emergency rooms. And in emergency rooms, they don't check like your full medical history all the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's just whatever's in front of you. They're just trying to get. Well, they're also just trying to get through the shift too.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to. You come in here, we're gonna get you fixed, and then you're gonna go to your real doctor who's gonna figure out how we can make this not happen again.
Yeah. And so, but the thing is like Dee Dee's taking Gypsy to the emergency room for like minor ailments, like everything. She's going to the emergency room for.
Gotcha.
She told her Gypsy's doctors that she had seizures every few months, and they prescribed anti-seizure medication. Several surgeries were performed on her during Gypsy's lifetime. One of the first surgeries she's ever had is she had a feeding tube inserted into her stomach. So they actually like put it right like where your belly button is.
Okay.
Yeah. See,
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. So Gypsy stated, this is her words, that it was the first time that she had it done, it wasn't that bad, but they had to replace it so often. And every time that they replaced it, it was an incredibly painful procedure because she didn't get anesthesia for it. They just took it out and put a new one in.
Oh, fuck.
So like this is, I hate how graphic this is, but like this little girl is really being tortured. Her mom told her doctor she was incontinent. So like she's being forced to wear diapers over the age of 10.
Okay.
Right. Many of the medications that she was given by doctors, so like for the GI issues or for the lung issues, she would be given all these medications from one specialist that's 30 miles away from the other specialist. But the medications were causing the side effects that looked like symptoms for other things.
Gotcha.
So Dee Dee, again, being like a crazy mental manipulator, would be like, okay, so she's taking this seizure medication for this so-called epilepsy, which gives her a low iron count. So then she would go to a doctor
and that would
be
say
like,
they're anemic.
Then that's how she got anemia.
So that's actually what happened in a weird way to Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh,
remember back in the 2000s when you had the Osbournes, the TV show.
Oh, I remember.
And Ozzy was like so fucking weird on it. Ozzy was on so many meds from so many different doctors that they were having like all these effects on him.
Cross effects.
Yeah, cross effects and all these different things. And so at one point he finally got off all of them because he needed some of them for certain things.
Yeah.
They finally he went to a new doctor and that doctor was like, you're getting you off everything.
Yeah.
And then he was able to actually like talk again. Like, because he was basically like fucked up. It was basically keeping him in a kind of semi-catatonic state. So that's why he'd be like, oh, Sharon. And then like he kind of sobered up. And there's this period before, now he's very frail again. Yeah. He's not doing well. But there was this weird period where after the Osbournes went off the air and before, I want to say, so probably from like 2006 to like 2014, 2015, like he was actually like closer to what he was in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like back in the 1980s than he was in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now, you mentioned Munchausen syndrome and kind of what that is. Do you know where that comes from?
No.
You don't know about Baron Munchausen?
I do not.
So remember, okay, so there's two things. A lot of people know the name Baron Munchausen from the movie.
Okay.
Terry Gilliam made a movie. Terry Gilliam was with Monty Python. He was the one who made all their weird animations.
Okay.
He's a very famous film director. He made a movie called The Adventures of Baron von Munchausen.
All right.
That movie is based on a book. And that book is based on a real man.
Okay.
Now, that real man was a Prussian He was a Prussian soldier.
Oh, not the Prussians.
Yeah,
We're back again.
Yeah, he was Karl Friedrich von Munchausen, born in 1720 in Hanover. Sorry, not Prussian. He fought for the Imperial Russian Army in 1740. He retired in 1760, and he settled down in his estates, and he lived there for the next 37 years. And this is when he got known as and built a reputation as basically a consummate liar.
Yeah, okay.
So he was a great storyteller, and he would tell stories about his times fighting in the wars, but like they were always insane.
Yeah.
It would be like, then I needed to get to the other side of the battle, so I hopped on a cannonball, and I had them shoot me out of a cannon.
Perfect.
So it was just... all of his stories are like whimsical and nuts, and then eventually people started mocking him by writing fake memoirs in his way and building upon it. And that's the reason why, like, Munchausen, it's one of these things where you have to kind of know this kind of world of like the 1800s literature, but that's kind of where this comes from. It's somebody who just can't stop. There's a base there. There is a baseline in the first part, which is she probably actually did worry her daughter had sleep apnea when she was a couple months old.
Yeah.
But then slowly, I'm getting more attention. People are being more forgiving to me. All these different things. As long as she's sick or we don't know what's wrong, I'm getting the attention. And that's what builds on Munchausen's. And it's the same thing kind of here with this. And you've seen...
Is that what he looked like, that bust?
That bust is a representation of him. There's a lot of portraits of him. But this was the movie. You've seen this movie.
Yeah.
The movie has Robin Williams, Eric Idle, Sarah Polley, Uma Thurman's in it. She plays Aphrodite. They show the scene of Aphrodite and the clam and all that different stuff. But it's a very good movie.
Okay.
And it's fun and it's imaginative.
Okay, I'm going to ruin all the fun you just had.
Yeah, I know. I needed to add a little bit in there. I needed to desperately back out of that a little bit just to kind of remind everybody that like Munchausen's is supposed to be like, hey, this old war veteran likes to make up silly, funny things.
Silly, fun stories.
Yeah.
These are not silly,
He's just an old man pooping himself in the corner saying, that's how I met the Sultan of Turkey.
Oh, my God. So Dee Dee took her to the hospital well over 100 times between 2005 and 2014.
So how's she affording all of this? Because, like, are they on...
She's on SSI, so she gets Medicaid.
Oh. Okay.
So she got... Gypsy was subject to gastrointestinal operations and eye operations for all of the many things that it was thought she had. And what happened was Hurricane Katrina devastated the area. And Dee Dee and Gypsy their apartment was ruined where they lived. The floods destroyed everything.
Okay.
And this is also the moment where Dee Dee states that all of Gypsy's medical records, including her birth certificates, were destroyed in the floods.
Okay.
So from this point forward, it's really hard to navigate all the information that was pulled because so much of it was, in air quotes, destroyed by Hurricane Katrina.
Gotcha.
Which I'm sure things were destroyed. The apartment they lived in was destroyed. They ended up obviously leaving that area, and they were put in a shelter set up for individuals with special needs. At this point, I don't know if I said this, but Gypsy's like in a wheelchair full time, and sometimes in a motorized wheelchair, so that's why they would be in a special needs shelter. Okay, so interesting that you brought up the Munchausens, because like, why would you make up these stories? Is she just needs attention and she's doing this? Also the money. Okay, so the money, not like SSI money, but Gypsy was then honored by the Oli Foundation, which advocates for the rights of feeding tube recipients, as the 2007 Child of the Year. Okay. In 2008, Jesus. Habitat for Humanity built them a small home with a wheelchair ramp and a hot tub as part of a larger project in the north side of Springfield.
Mm-hmm. And the hot tub wasn't just because, hey, we're going to give you a free hot tub. It was probably because, hey, she has so many medical conditions and they're claiming probably arthritis or other things, or she needs the hot bath.
Yeah.
This isn't just like, oh, and they get a hot tub because they're poor. It was given to her probably for a medical.
I'm sure that Dee Dee was like, she needs it for medical, and then the poor girl was never allowed in there.
No.
Never. The story of a single mother with a severely disabled daughter forced to flee Katrina's devastation received considerable local media attention, and the community pitched in to help this woman. Dee Dee changes her name to Claudine Blanchard, which is like, at least make it different.
Yeah.
Claudine Blanchard versus Claudina. I don't know. But everybody knew.
That's why I go by.
But she still used the same nickname as Dee Dee.
I know, but that's why I go by Alexi Pearlman.
The outpouring of support included many charitable contributions. A lot of Facebook GoFundMe stuff.
Gotcha.
A lot of those Facebook fundraisers. Dee Dee loves Facebook. Okay,
yeah.
Where she's deep into the Facebook grind.
Okay.
And so she starts making these fundraising pages for her daughter.
Mm-hmm. And she's getting that dopamine hit.
Yeah.
From the likes and the comments and all that different stuff.
They often went and stayed at the Ronald McDonald houses during their medical appointments.
Oh.
In Missouri, they received free flights to see doctors at a Children's Mercy Hospital.
Can we, real quick,
Mm-hmm.
can you say, instead of saying they,
yeah,
can we say Dee Dee?
Yeah.
Because Gypsy doesn't have agency in this.
Yeah, no, none at all.
I just want to make that clear, because when we say they, it feels like they're both in it.
Yeah.
It's happening to Gypsy.
Mm-hmm.
Dee Dee's the one who is knowingly doing this.
This is hurt this next sentence. Dee Dee got a free trip to Walt Disney World. Actually, they got multiple free trips. She got multiple free trips to Disney World.
Yeah.
Because, fun fact.
And she got to skip the line.
Yeah, for sure.
Because her daughter's in a wheelchair with a feeding tube. Yeah.
Gypsy, huge Disney adult.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, Disney, loves Disney. Disney was her big thing.
It was probably one of the few places where she felt normal.
Yeah. Also,
and was treated
and like
normal.
Tragically and like really depressingly, her favorite was Tangled. Her favorite Disney movie is Tangled, which is all about the little girl that gets kidnapped.
Oh God!
I was like, damn, Gypsy,
being kept in a tower and tortured by a witch.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Gypsy, on the nose. Whew. She's like, not Moana, no.
Well, Moana was later.
I know it was later, but still.
You know what's funny? I've actually never seen Tangled.
It's exactly what you think it is.
No, I know it is. I mean, I know the fairy tale it's based on, Rapunzel. Yeah. Like, I know that. But I never saw Tangled.
But I was watching an interview with Gypsy, and she was like, my favorite was Tangled. And she's explaining to the interviewer what Tangled's about, and even the interviewer's face is like, Jesus Christ.
Like a bit on the fucking nose.
Oh my God. She, Dee Dee also received backstage passes to multiple Miranda Lambert concerts.
I was so afraid you were going to say sings. When you said Miranda, I was like, shut up.
Miranda Lambert, and that was via the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah.
So Dee Dee is lying to everybody.
The one thing also to keep in mind, while all this is happening, this means that other people aren't getting these.
Yeah.
For every Disney ticket, Ronald McDonald House booking, any of those things, that is a caseworker or someone working for any of these organizations who has to take the time away from other people who are in these needs.
And like, I feel like it's again the gray area of like, if anyone deserved for a fucking day at Disney, it's Gypsy. So like, it's not taking from her, but I'm like, fuck you, Dee Dee.
Yeah.
Like, I want Gypsy to experience a day of relief.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you want Gypsy to have a home.
and I'm like, I'm glad that Gypsy got to Make-A-Wish home.
Yeah.
But fuck you, Dee Dee.
Yeah.
So Rod and his second wife this whole time keep trying to visit. But every time they try to visit, Dee Dee changes plans or, makes it so that they can't see her. Rod was as involved as he possibly could have been with limitations, but like every time he tried, Dee Dee would lie. And also the whole time, Dee Dee's telling everybody that will listen that Gypsy's father was an abusive drug addict and alcoholic who never came to terms with his daughter's health issues and never sent them any money. But which is a lie. He was supporting them the whole time financially. But so she set up this whole narrative where he's a bad guy, and she's telling this narrative to Gypsy too. So Gypsy thinks that her dad isn't a trustworthy person either.
So she's even more isolated. Gypsy's more isolated.
Yeah.
Even from her own dad. Gotcha.
Exactly. So thing is, Gypsy, incredibly charming. If you watch interviews with her when she was still really being made sick, she's like the cutest girl. She's like in her wheelchair. She's got a big bow on her head. She's real sweet. She talks in like a sweet childlike voice. And so she's very charming. And there's like this thing where like, I also know, I don't know, but I feel like Gypsy's also playing into talking more childlike and behaving more childlike on purpose.
And
because her mom is pushing her to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So like, she's really playing it up for the cameras. Okay. Gypsy often wore wigs and hats to cover her baldness because her mother regularly, weekly shaved her head to mimic the hairless appearance of someone with chemotherapy. Because Dee Dee told Gypsy that she was on like a specific medication that was going to make her hair fall out. So it's just better to shave in advance before it falls out. So her mom lied to her, and then they would shave her head once a week. But then her mom would tell everybody that like, oh, she has this thing. And, you know, so again, the appearance of this sickly little girl, bald girl. Dee Dee often carried an oxygen tank and the feeding tube with them. And Gypsy was fed children's liquid nutrition supplement by Pediasure well into her 20s.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to break Alex on this episode.
I don't...
Fucktober. I told you it was going to be a fucked episode. Okay? I said it. I said this is going to be fucked.
I didn't know it was going to be this fucked.
This is going to be fucked. Okay? And the other thing also that came out from the interviews with Gypsy is that Dee Dee was physically abusing her. So like not even just this medical abuse. Jesus fucking Christ. But like if like her mom would always hold her hand in public, and if Gypsy wasn't doing or saying something right, she would like squeeze her hand really hard. Or if when they got home, she would like beat her with a wire hanger.
Oh my God.
And be like, you know, you need to make sure you don't number one sound like, because again, I don't want to use this word. She would tell people her daughter was mentally retarded. And then if Gypsy spoke in a way that was above that intellectual capability, there would be repercussions when she got home. Mm-hmm. Right.
And more specifically than what you're saying is if she over the stereotype of that disability.
Exactly. The stereotype of that disability.
Yeah. Which is something I've run into over this last week with people screaming about IQs and what, you know, people who have, there was a guy online claiming like, if you know, they have their IQs are under 75. Here's Forrest Gump. His IQ is 75. I'm like, he doesn't exist.
What?
That is Tom Hanks playing
a character. Wait, what are you talking about? This is on the internet?
Yeah, it was on Twitter.
Oh God, you shouldn't be on Twitter.
But I'm saying somebody sent it to me. What I'm saying though is there is a people, no matter what their capacity, have the ability to do amazing things.
Yeah.
There is a stereotype though that people, especially people who are giving money and people who are getting roped into these type of things, have an expectation of specific things. So if you go beyond that, you know. For instance, if she's in a wheelchair, right, and her mom's saying she's quadriplegic, and you see her stretch one of her legs, okay, she's faking it. Well, mom will freak the fuck out about that. Yep. Oh, she says anti-disestablishmentarianism as a sentence. Well, you're getting hit with a hanger. Like, those are the type of things.
Also, I have this in my note next, but Gypsy could walk.
Oh, yeah.
But she was only allowed to walk at home. But whenever they were out in public, or she was always made to be in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
But Gypsy knew she could walk. And it's one of the only things that, like, when they do interviews with her later, she admits that she knew that this was a lie. But she was like, I had to keep it up because of the repercussions physically, but also because, like, my mom told me I have a degenerative disease, so I was going to lose it anyway. So why not just stay in the chair? So like,
yeah,
there starts to be a gray area of like, what did Gypsy know? What didn't she know? But at the end of the day, she's still a victim of this. So it's like, it doesn't matter how much she knows. It's also one
of those things too, where she was born into it. Like there wasn't ever a moment where this wasn't happening to her while she was cognizant. So it's like, how do you back into when somebody would know what they're doing is immoral?
And how do you know your morals if your only person you're ever fucking around is Dee Dee?
Yeah.
What is your moral scope?
Who is poisoning people with Roundup and starving them to death?
Yeah. It's like
allegedly.
You don't even know if it's alleged. It's like, I think it's fine.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit you with the darkest part of this story right now, and then we're going to take an upward trajectory, I promise.
Okay, how about this?
Okay.
All right, to warn everybody.
Yeah.
You're going to hit me with the darkest part.
Personally, this is the part that, when I heard this, it's the part that broke me.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, but after this part, I'm going to, it's going to take a whole different turn.
We're an hour in.
I know.
You've been depressing the fuck out of me.
I'm really sorry. You said it was fucked-tober, so we're getting fucked.
Okay. So you're gonna do this. Then we're gonna take a break.
Okay, so we can breathe.
The advertisers, fuck them. Okay, we're gonna pin whoever it is against the wall. This is what you get, you
Guess
fuckers.
What? Home Depot, Juvederm, BetterHelp,
whatever,
whatever, man.
Whoever you are,
we're
fuck you.
Sorry, not sorry at this point. Okay. So, buckle up.
How long do you think this is gonna be? 3 minutes?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So the medical interventions continued. The many different procedures that she's having her daughter go through. She got, she would say she had ear infections, so she got tubes put in her ears, right? All the different things that are happening. There's many surgeries. The one that I think is the fucking worst is that Dee Dee had some Gypsy's saliva glands treated with Botox, right? Because her daughter's on all these drugs. Her daughter is so sick. Her daughter is like mentally just in this chair and often drooling. And her mom didn't like the drooling. So she had her saliva glands Botox so that she would stop drooling. And when that didn't work, she made up a lie and got the saliva glands completely extracted from her body to control the drooling. And what happened was, because of the anti-seizure medication and the not having saliva in her mouth, all of her teeth fell out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's the most horrific thing I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a break.
Yeah, we're going to take a minute.
We're going to take a break. Fuck. Okay.
All right, we're back.
You said you promise is getting better.
I said we're gonna get different. I didn't. Not better, different.
You said better.
I don't know what I said.
You said it was gonna get better.
I'm in a weird place. This is a lot of weird shit to be reading.
Yeah, I know. I didn't fucking. All right.
So now we're gonna talk about Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein. Oh man, I definitely messed that up. I'm gonna say Flasterstein. He was a pediatric neurologist who saw Gypsy in Springfield. And he immediately became suspicious of her muscular dystrophy diagnosis. So Dee Dee brings her in.
Okay.
He orders MRIs and blood tests, and he found no abnormalities. In quote, I don't see any reason why she doesn't walk. That's what he wrote on the medical report.
Gotcha.
He told Dee Dee on a follow-up visit that after seeing Gypsy stand and support her own weight, that he just didn't understand why other people thought she had muscular dystrophy. He also noticed another issue, which he put in the medical notes, but he didn't say out loud to Dee Dee, which is basically that when someone doesn't walk for 9 years, like what they're saying is happening to Gypsy, they don't have the same leg muscles.
Okay.
But Gypsy had weak, but she had leg muscles.
Yeah.
So he's like, this isn't the legs of someone who hasn't walked in 9 years.
Yeah.
This is like a weak type of leg.
So when I was a kid, my 5th grade teacher, he survived polio.
Okay.
And he was a stocky guy, but he didn't have, his legs were inoperable. Mm-hmm. So he had those like crutches that go around your forearm.
Yeah.
And I'll remember because he had braces and things like that. But I always remember thinking, because his body was like very wide. His upper body was very stocky, but his legs were very, very thin because, again, there was no muscle mass at all.
Yeah.
It was basically you were looking at just the skin over the bone. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, that's what he's talking about is if you can't operate them at all, there shouldn't be anything.
Yeah, so he was
obviously
suspicious.
she's walking a couple hours each day.
She's standing up when no one's looking.
Yeah.
So Flasterstein noted on the medical documents that this was it was like kind of like in the title of the medical document actually.
Yeah.
And underlined that Dee Dee is not a good nor trustworthy historian.
Oh.
Because again, she goes in and she's like, this is what happened. This is what she has. This is what and he's like, you cannot trust her. He's like, this is not good history, medical history. So then this doctor contacts Gypsy's doctors in New Orleans. And he learned that Gypsy's original muscle biopsy had come back negative, undermining Dee Dee's self-reported diagnosis of muscular dystrophy, as well as her claim that all Gypsy's records had been destroyed by the flooding.
Gotcha.
Because he called New Orleans and they're like, yeah, we got it. And it's digital. Probably. They're probably like, it's digital.
Yeah.
But like, maybe not.
They're like, not, a lot of New Orleans flooded, not all of it.
Yeah. Or maybe they just had papers there.
Yeah.
So he was the first person to suspect the possibility of Munchausen's symptom by proxy.
Okay.
Right? He's the first person that wrote it in a medical note. He's the first person that raised a bit of a red flag.
Okay. I feel like I'm liking where this is going.
We got two issues that happen simultaneously. Number one, Flasterstein does not follow up by reporting Dee Dee to social services.
Okay.
He had been told by other doctors to treat the pair with golden gloves, and none of the other doctors believed that any authorities would believe him because everybody just loved Dee Dee and Gypsy. And so he, in his words, when they interviewed him, he was like, I felt that if I reported it, it would have gone unlistened to and it just wouldn't have done anything. So he did. I don't think he was a required reporter of the specific situation. Uh-huh. At the same time, Dee Dee had been using multiple social workers at this time. So like every hospital she's at, she gets a social worker. Yeah. And she's lying to the social workers too. And one thing that she used to do is every social worker, she would get them to provide her all of the medical records, which is like a way around HIPAA sometimes. Uh-huh. Well, okay, so it's not like a HIPAA violation, but you don't have access to every medical record right away. And there are certain loopholes, but by using the social workers as a middleman, she was able to get everything.
So basically what I've taken away from this episode so far is that because they had Medicaid and because of these social workers, Dee Dee was able to abuse Gypsy Rose. So what you're telling me is universal healthcare and social workers should not be an option.
I don't think that's what I'm saying at all.
And this wouldn't happen with private insurance.
Oh my God.
And medical choice.
Nope. Wow, you're really just not taking anything. Anyway, so the Dee Dee got the medical records, and she got that letter that he titled Dee Dee is not a good or trustworthy historian, medical historian. So that was like a note. It was like a letter. It wasn't like a medical record, but he put it all into a note that was then submitted into his reports. But it would not have been something that would have come up on your website when you look at your stuff. Medical reports. This was something special that he had for other doctors to see. Yeah. But the social worker had
This is supposed to be for the staff only section.
But the social worker, because they were in there digging, pulled it and gave it to Dee Dee.
Just gave him the whole file.
So she saw that he suspected that she was lying. And it was the first time in writing anyone ever had suspected that this could be happening. So of course
Dee Dee gets round up.
Nope. She Dee Dee does not go back to that doctor or that hospital for 5 years. She never goes back to the hospital.
Okay.
However, an anonymous caller called the police a little bit after this and reported that Dee Dee uses different names and birth dates for herself and her daughter and suggested that Gypsy was in better health than claimed and asked for a wellness check.
Okay.
So the officers went and performed a wellness check. They accepted Dee Dee's explanation that she used. She uses this misinformation. The reason she lies, the reason she changes her date and her daughter's birth date is because her abusive ex-husband is trying to find her and Gypsy. And so that's why they have to lie about this.
Okay, because that's searchable.
They did not reach out to Rod. They did not, search any court records.
I mean, to be fair to the police, they're lazy.
Yeah, there's that.
These are Louisiana cops. Like, I'm not going to go too much into it.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, all right, your wellness check is Louisiana cops.
Yikes.
Like, it's not like... And also, Dee Dee is out here tricking 20 hospitals?
Yeah.
How many trained medical professionals and social workers and all this different stuff?
Yeah.
Like, listen, ACAB, y'all. ACAB, all right? That being said, I don't go to a fucking Burger King and ask their thoughts on fucking nuclear submarines.
Oh, well,
okay?
Just check a comment section. They'll tell you the...
Oh, no, they'll tell me exactly how to work and operate. I'll go to a War Thunder forum and I'll find out how to build a fucking F-16.
Also, the police reported that Gypsy seemed to be genuinely mentally disabled, and the file was closed.
Okay.
So nothing came from the police report.
Did they shoot the dog?
Okay. Dee Dee...
I'm trying to pull out, all right? I'm
know.
trying to pull up from how depressing the first half was. I'm trying to find fucking something in here.
Okay, here's something. This is something, I wasn't going to spoil it for you earlier, but we were talking about how, like, one of the reason that Gypsy maybe like Disney is because she, like, felt a part of it's handicap accessible. There's fun things. There's these stories in which you overcome things and you come out better on the other end. Another thing that Gypsy fucking loved was sci-fi and fantasy conventions.
Okay.
Your girl loved a Comic-Con.
Gotcha.
Okay. She loved going in costume. She loved cosplay.
Yep.
She quoted her quote from her. She liked it because she was easily able to blend into diverse and inclusive communities in her wheelchair. Yeah. So everybody was really friendly, accommodating.
It's escapism.
She could be these characters. Mm-hmm. Now, in 2011, okay, we're skipping it. We're getting ahead. It's 2011 now. She made her first escape attempt.
Oh,
okay. So she's. It's so hard to know what her age is, but she's like, let's say 18. Okay. She's like 18ish. Okay, give or take whatever birth certificate we're talking about here, but she's somewhere 18ish.
Well, you said she was born in 91, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so at 2011 she'd be 20.
Okay, so she's 20. Perfect.
Okay.
If that birth certificate's
it's
real.
called math.
I know, but I don't trust any of the paperwork. So she's 20 years old. She decides she's going to make her first escape attempt. Okay. And she had met a guy in a chat room online. Okay. Because again, they love Facebook.
Here's the one thing I love about this, by the way, is like Dee Dee straddles this perfect time where she is smart enough to work the system, but too dumb to understand the internet. Yep. Because like now they'd be like, no, you're not getting a phone. Yeah. You're not getting to the internet. Any of these different things, like the modern psychos. Yeah. No. Don't let them near social media forums, any of those different types of things. Versus Dee Dee's like, what's the worst they can do? Recommend a book?
Oh, man. I don't... you're going to make this next paragraph real hard for me. So she makes this escape attempt, and her mother finds her in a hotel room with the man that she met online. Dee Dee produced paperwork at this guy, and he was one of the younger birth dates, threatening to inform police. So again, she's 20, but she has paperwork that's like, she's 16. I'm going to call the police on you. Okay. And then this is the part where like I get really like concerned. Like, I mean, I'm already concerned about the sheer amount of abuse that's going on, but like we have Gypsy in this situation right now where like she can't trust the police. She doesn't trust doctors. She thinks she can't trust her dad. She has seen nobody that's going to help her get out of this. And so now she's turning to online forums to meet online men who see her as a young girl. Yeah. And I'm just like, she is opening herself up for, and she doesn't know it. She's too naive and she's not worldly enough to know that like meeting a guy on the internet and then going back to his hotel room because he promises to get you away from your mom is like a whole other bracket of abuse that could happen. Yeah. So then I'm terrified reading about this. So Gypsy states that after this happened, Dee Dee smashed her computer with a hammer. Okay. And threatened to do the same to her fingers if she ever tried to escape again. Jesus. And then Dee Dee attached handcuffs to a dog leash and secured Gypsy to a bed for 2 weeks as punishment for trying to leave. Dee Dee also lied to Gypsy and said that she had filed paperwork with the police stating that Gypsy lacked capacity, so she was mentally incompetent, leading again for Gypsy to believe that if she attempted to go to the police for help, they would not believe her. So we have family, friends, police, doctors. No one's going to be able to save her. This is, again, my thought on Gypsy's mind. Like, who could help her, right? Okay, so we get to 2012. Gypsy somehow finds the internet again. Gypsy, where there's a will, there's a way. She's going to find this internet. So basically, whenever her mom goes to sleep, and I think her mom takes heavy meds. It was implied that her mom takes heavy meds to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So like when her mom
goes... A little
goes...
shot of Roundup. Listen.
It's round down when you got to go to sleep. The round down.
She's mixing round-uppers.
Round up in the morning. You're round down at night.
She's mixing round-uppers and round-downers.
You should never mix them.
Yeah.
You don't want to speedball your roundup.
Yeah.
So when she would go to bed, when her mom would go to sleep, she would get online because I guess her mom had a computer too. And she met a guy in a Christian singles group online. Okay. Christian singles, baby. His name's Nicholas Godejohn. It's spelled Godejohn. Godejohn. He's around her age and he's from Wisconsin.
Wait, is it Godej?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Godejohn.
Godejohn. So
Godejohn.
Godejohn.
Okay.
Godejohn. It sounds like gochujang, which is like the Korean fermented chili paste. Yeah. It's delicious. Godejohn, while he told Gypsy he was like, you know, he played himself up as like a really nice guy. You know, nice guy online.
He's on a web forum.
He's on a web, but he's a nice guy.
No, I know, but he's on a web forum. They all talk like that.
He did have a criminal record for indecent exposure. Also had been arrested for watching pornography in a McDonald's.
Okay, all right, all right. Okay.
Where are you supposed to watch it?
Not at a McDonald's.
Are you sure?
Not in a fucking McDonald's.
I don't know. I can't.
Go to the public library like a gentleman.
Not go to the library and look at that stuff.
In a McDonald's?
He has a history of mental illness documented by doctors and his parents.
Okay.
He was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, which is what people would call multiple personality disorder.
Okay.
And he is also on the autism spectrum.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Okay. So.
This poor girl.
In 2014, Gypsy confided in her 23-year-old next door neighbor, who was like her friend, Leah. I'm not going to try to say her last name. Now, Aaliyah never knew that Gypsy was like basically the same age as her. She always considered herself a big sister because she thought she was so much younger.
Yeah.
But Gypsy starts telling her about this guy she met online. She's like, oh, he's so nice. He's so cool. I love him. We're going to elope and get married and we're going to have children. Right. And so this girl, this friend, this Aaliyah, she's like, hey, I think that maybe you shouldn't talk to this guy because he could really take advantage of you. And she's trying to explain to her that like there's online sexual predators. And because again, she thinks she's a child.
Yeah.
And she's like, no,
she's trying to protect the 16-year-old.
Yeah. She's like, you're not old enough. You're too young. You could be taken advantage of. And Gypsy's like, no, it's fine. Everything's cool. But also never told her that she was also like kind of 23 years old, maybe at the same time.
Yeah.
Gypsy had 5 separate Facebook accounts. Okay. And her and Godejohn flirted online all the time. And sometimes, and by sometimes I mean they really talked with like a lot of BDSM stuff. It was very horny. It was like,
it's like nerd horny.
It was nerd horny. That's the way to describe it. It was nerd horny.
Yeah.
And apparently he told her that he was really into BDSM stuff.
Okay.
And she loved him so much that she was like, I'll do whatever you want. You know, like that whole vibe. So he has these issues that he's dealing with, and his parents are like, you know, he's kind of like mentally like a teenager and he plays very sweet and unknowing. But like he also is talking about this domination fetish that he has. Okay. And the thing that really weirded me out when I was reading up on it and doing all this research is that and I don't know if he did this on purpose or if like he was already into it, but like he framed the BDSM around Disney characters.
What?
Yeah. And it was like, because I know Gypsy loves Disney. And so I was like, I don't know. But so it'd be like, one example would be like, she would post a picture of like a sexy Belle like, you know how like the artists like redraw the Disney characters in a sexy way, and like she'd be like, I want to do whatever my master says, and then he'd comment publicly on that Facebook post and be like, you're a good little girl, or like it's just like so. Listen, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, but it's very awkward when you know like so.
All right, I just pulled up a picture of this guy just because now I got to see what we're talking about here. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the other thing. Other thing that happens is that he has the multiple personality disorder, right? And he's like, he goes to her and he's like, listen, I, John, love you, Gypsy. But my other personalities, they need girlfriends too.
What? What?
So then
what?
She comes up with like 15 other personalities that she gives names to and different personalities to. And then
each of those personalities share a Facebook account?
Basically she makes like other Facebook pages for each personality, and then they're dating his other personalities.
Is this the reason why you need to upload a driver's license to create a Facebook now? Like, what the fuck is happening?
So, all I'm saying is it's a lot of work, but also because she loves cosplay, she's totally into it. And like I saw some of the pictures, and like she like would pick out like she has like a sexy sassy one, and then there's like the bookish one, and there's the, you know, the lovey-dovey princess one, and then there's like a villain one. It's just cosplay internet. Here's the thing. This is what Dee Dee didn't understand. This is what Dee Dee could never understand, is you cannot cage a horny teenager. Okay?
No. And here's the thing. I'm looking at it. Hold on.
This young woman, Gypsy, was a teenager, okay? And she was...
Well, at this point, she's in her 20s.
Yeah, but, you know...
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No, I just finally pulled up pictures of Dee Dee, and this is not what I was picturing what Dee Dee looked like. I was picturing, in my head, Dee Dee looked like a combination of... All right, you know that movie, The Mist?
Yeah,
where everyone's in that grocery store and they can't go outside, and there's the one crazy religious lady.
Yeah, that's
what I was picturing.
No,
now she's wearing in this one picture. She's wearing the similar kind of denim muumuu thing.
Yeah,
but Dee Dee does have that deep South big evil lady energy. But to kill him with kindness. Oh, but just bless her heart. Well, that's just how she goes. And I'm Dee Dee. She reminds me of, there's that one guy on TikTok who does the overweight grandma, overweight Southern grandma. That's Dee Dee Blanchard, like to a T. And then they have some images here of all the different ones.
She's 20 there.
Yeah,
but she looks like she's maybe 13.
Yeah,
crazy. So.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. In this picture, like, mom's wearing making sure the cross is visible.
Yeah.
Because she's probably, at this point, ripping off a Christian organization at that point.
Probably.
I mean, you go through some of these different ones.
Don't scroll too far, because you're going to get into medical images, and then you're going to be real sad.
I'm staying at the very, very top.
Okay. So listen.
Okay.
They were doing this online dating stuff for a year. Okay? Every day. All day. They even had a breakup in there, and it was all on Facebook. And the best part about it is when I went and, like, saw the Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
It's like one like this.
Oh, wait. This isn't through DMs?
No, I'm telling you, this is all public.
This is on their public fucking walls?
She would post a public picture, like something daddy, and then he would publicly comment, blah, 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 and like, and get like a like. It's just like, who's following these pages?
But imagine being the one
person.
person.
And then when they broke up, like they had a breakup or they got in a fight, she'd post like 6 paragraphs about how much she loved him and she couldn't take it. And then he would respond, no, I love you. Like, let's work it out. Like, it was all on the front page of Facebook. It was not in the DMs.
But imagine being the one person following this. Like,
you would be like, wait.
So wait, hold on. There's a guy on TikTok that my For You page decided recently that I need to know about.
Yeah.
And this man is having a schizophrenic break right now.
Oh, okay.
And he is building a time machine.
Oh.
And so every day he uploads 3 videos, and it's of him. You don't see his face. He's pointing out of the back camera.
Yeah.
And it's him pacing and walking around this destroyed apartment.
Yeah.
Talking about how he's building a tesseract. And like every day whenever I see it, it always has like 20,000 views. and a bunch of comments, and everyone's like, how the fuck did we end up here? Every single person in the comments like, how? But then he'll be like, the best, I need to have 27 vacuum tubes for this Tesseract. And then somebody will reply, I did it in 6. And you're like,
no, stop.
But it's one of those things where you're like, okay, how am I here? What am I supposed to report this? What am I supposed to do? But meanwhile, on Facebook back in the day, you have these two, and the guy's like, I'm your Rumpelstiltskin daddy. And she's like, climb my hair. And you're like, what am I
seeing?
And you know that this is back then. So one dude definitely took a screenshot and then sent it to his buddies.
I was like, look at this. Look at this.
Look at these fucking psycho Louisiana.
Horny teens.
Yeah.
So after a year of dating, again, this dating is all online dating.
Okay.
Gypsy comes up with a plan. Okay. This is a plan for him to meet her mother, because in her mind, if they could meet in like a meet cute kind of way, and then her mom would be like, yo, this guy is great, and then it'd be okay if they dated, right? Like, so this is the story she's telling her head. So what she did is Gypsy arranged for Goda John to meet her and her mother in Springfield. Also, Gypsy is stealing copious amounts of cash from her mom all the time. Like, she paid for his ticket to fly or take the train in, and also paid for the movie tickets. Like, she is like stealing cash from her mom, and I don't feel bad about it because her mom's stealing cash.
Well, that's where she learned.
Yeah, so
apple tree,
steal the cash,
Roundup.
So her plan was that they would casually bump into each other at the movie theater, because her and her mom were going to the movies. And apparently they were going to strike up a relationship and a friendship. And then that's how they would introduce him to her mother.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to bump into this.
At a movie theater.
I'm going to bump into this guy with dissociative personality disorder with the craziest looking eyes you've ever seen in your entire life in the middle of a crowded movie theater lobby. And then, Mom, I should date this man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as soon as they did meet in person, because when they met at that movie theater, they were texting the whole time, like, I'm on my way, I'm taking a cab.
Yeah.
Like, well, this is the first time they actually met in person physically. They went into the bathroom and had immediate sex with each other. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
At the movie theater.
Okay.
They were like, let's go. It's been a year.
But where's Dee Dee?
I don't know. I'm like, Dee Dee, where were you? How did this happen?
Yeah, Dee Dee, she's the girl in the wheelchair is your cash cow, right?
What? You're just where'd she go?
Yeah.
How long were they gone? I have a lot of questions, but none of them are appropriate. So
yeah, no, you're right.
This
is why I'm glad I do a podcast with you, because there is the comedian brain in me is like trying desperately to like make it not. I don't want to say fun. Entertain. I'm just trying to,
survive this episode.
Survive?
You said ed-tober, and I said, yup.
No, and I regret it.
Should have stayed spooky. Couldn't have done this episode if we were doing spooky. But here we are.
Yeah.
So.
But hold on. Because that's my what's the word? What's that word when you process bad stuff and like you deflect it? That thing that people do?
I don't know.
No, that defense mechanism. My defense mechanism.
Yeah.
My defense mechanism is gallows humor. I hear something really fucked up, and I try to like add levity to it or something like that. This has been very difficult.
I know.
This is very difficult. I'm mad at you.
I'm sorry.
We are getting divorced. But I'm desperate to know how did First thing, it's a movie theater. Hold on. No, I'm not letting it go. I've been to a movie theater. Do you want to know
what movie they were going to see?
What movie were they going to see?
The live action version of Cinderella.
What?
That was the movie.
Who was even in that? I don't remember. They made that?
Yeah.
Who made the live action version of Cinderella?
Well, Disney, obviously.
No, I know that. Hold on. Who was the live?
Hold on. It was like this pretty blonde
2015.
girl. They CGI'd her waist even smaller than it was. It was like a whole thing.
Oh my God, I don't even remember this.
Well, what year was it?
2015.
Yeah, 2015 was a great year. We weren't fucking dealing with Cinderella movies.
Lily James, Kate Blanchett played the... Blanchett.
Helen Bonham Carter.
Richard
Baby.
Madden. So the guy... this is when all the Game of Thrones...
This is an all-star cast right here.
This is when all the Game of Thrones dudes were doing well. Stellan Skarsgård's in it.
Got a Skarsgård in here? Listen,
and then
I'll show up anywhere for
Rob
Helen
Brydon
Bonham
played
Carter.
Master Phineas.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lizard foot man. What the fuck? Why is there a lizard person in here?
I don't know.
This just went crazy out of nowhere.
Okay, so listen.
Okay.
After their
this movie looks bad.
After their trip to the bathroom, which don't know how it happened, don't know how they both got
it's
unsupervised.
Gotta be but that's the thing too. It's got to be a crowded movie theater,
and it's not like Gypsy's inconspicuous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. It has to be a handicap stall.
Listen, we got to stop dissecting it. It's only going to go the wrong direction. So.
Maybe they had a family bathroom.
Here's the thing: they sit down in the movie theater, right? Because they're like, He goes and sits over yonder. He doesn't know her. He has to go sit alone.
Yeah.
And Dee Dee is sitting there with Gypsy watching the Cinderella movie. And the thing is that Dee Dee, again, scumbags can sense a scumbag. You know, Dee Dee sees this guy sitting alone at the Cinderella movie, and she's like, "Who the fuck is this weirdo?"
Okay.
And quote says, "That guy is creepy and weird. What kind of guy goes to see a kid's movie by himself?"
Yeah.
She was like, "Real recognizes real. What's up, weirdo?
Yeah,
what kind of fucked up shit are you doing, dude?" So they're playing abject failure because at no point could then he come over and they could have a meet cute and bump into each other and become friends. Because Dee Dee immediately spotted this dude in the movie theater and was like, "Weirdo. Absolutely the fuck up.
Stay the fuck away from my daughter, guy who sees movie alone."
Yeah.
Now I'm going to take her home and threaten her fingers with a hammer.
So they continued their internet interactions and began to develop a new plan to be together. Okay. A new meet cute, if you will.
Okay.
It's, they're going to kill Dee Dee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yo, what? Okay. All right. Oh, okay, all right.
So Go to John returns to Springfield, Wisconsin in June of 2015, arriving while Gypsy and her mother were at another doctor's appointment.
Wait, so are they in Springfield, Wisconsin? I thought they were in Louisiana.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he
lives in Wisconsin.
I'm wrong. He stayed in the area, I believe.
Okay.
At like a hotel or a motel
Just
or something.
watching kids' movies.
Oh, God. So there's a certain point where Dee Dee and Gypsy go to a doctor's appointment. And then when they return home, after Dee Dee has gone to sleep, John drives over to the house and Gypsy lets him in the back door. And allegedly, this isn't allegedly, she gives him duct tape, gloves, and a knife with the understanding that he's going to murder Dee Dee.
Okay.
So Gypsy goes and hides in the bathroom and covers her ears so she didn't have to hear anything. And John sneaks into Dee Dee's bedroom while she's asleep, again, probably on meds, and stabs her 17 times in the back while she's asleep.
Wow.
Afterwards, he goes back to Gypsy and is like, "It's all done." And then they go into Gypsy's room and have sex, which I'm not going to touch it. So they took.
Well, she did.
Okay.
Covered in her mom's blood.
Stop.
No, fuck you. After all I've had to sit through, Dee Dee finally gets got.
I can't.
We finally rounded down on her numbers. And I can't say shit.
Oh, you can. Oh, God. So he
murked her.
They took $4,000 cash that Dee Dee had been hiding in the house, but Gypsy knew where she was hiding it. Mm-hmm. And it was actually all cash that she had taken from the ex-husband's child support checks.
Okay.
So it was Ron's money.
Okay.
And then, I wrote a little note here, a little comment for myself, is like, when I was thinking about like the different ways that Gypsy could have gotten out of this situation. Yeah. Because again, I understand like from this perspective of like, where the fuck would you go?
After seeing her, just go downhill.
What the fuck?
After seeing Dee Dee, just be on a hill. Just go. You're in a wheelchair. You can just scoot down. Dee Dee will never catch you.
Oh no. What I was gonna say is that she could have reported her mom for Medicaid fraud.
Yeah, but she didn't understand that.
I know, but listen, if she would have stopped posting things on Facebook and Googled Medicaid fraud, she could have got her mom mad prison time.
But again, this is one of those things that she would have to know to Google Medicaid fraud.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
She doesn't know what that even is.
No, so she found this guy on a forum.
Remember, she has a second grade education,
and then he stabbed her.
Yeah.
So they fled to a motel where they stayed for a few days while planning their move.
Okay.
During that time, they're seen on plenty of security cameras. They went to local stores.
And she's walking around now.
She's walking.
She's walking. She's not in a wheelchair.
She's got on a long brown wig. She's walking around.
Okay. Has another big old sack of wigs in case he changes his personality
facts, again. Big facts. Okay. There's a lot of sex stuff, and I'm going over it. I'm going to skip it. Gypsy said that she thought at this point that they got away with it. She really thought that they were going to move on.
Yeah, well, she has the mind of a child. So
they mailed the murder weapon back to his house in Wisconsin to avoid being caught with it. Which is the dumbest thing, because now we're talking about postal crime. If you've learned anything from this podcast,
do not commit mail fraud.
Don't commit postal crimes. The postal inspectors will lock your ass up.
But also, why mail it to your own house?
Oh my God, it's the worst plan. They are so bad at plans.
Well, clearly,
They're bad at plans.
Which one of his personalities decided this plan?
I don't know.
I'm gonna mail it back to my parents' house, who are deeply concerned about me.
Yeah.
I mean, she's dead. Like, the mom's dead, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she's clearly been stabbed.
Yep.
So, I
don't know.
So
witnesses say they saw the pair walking to a Greyhound station, and Gypsy was wearing a blonde wig and walking unassisted. Okay. Now, here's what's happening. While they're running around these hotels and they're making their plans to start a new life together.
And having the loudest sex in the world.
Gross. The thing is, again, they're so Facebook oriented.
Was Frozen out by now?
Gypsy posts on her mom's Facebook page.
Shut the fuck up.
No.
Girl, what?
She logged into her dead mom's Facebook page after she had died.
Okay.
And under her mom's Facebook account, publicly made a post that just said, "The bitch is dead."
Yo, let's go. I'm gonna listen. I've had a lot of thoughts this whole episode.
I know.
A lot of them very dark. A lot of them very mad at you.
I know.
Not gonna lie.
I know.
Writing "the bitch is dead" on your dead mom's Facebook page after you had her murked after 20 plus years of abuse.
Yeah.
It's gonna be very difficult for your court case. But I bet that shit felt good.
So then,
I bet that shit felt fucking good.
So, the thing is that Dee Dee had created a web of lies that people really thought she was a good person. So there was hundreds of comments being like, "Oh my God, what's going on? Did your account get hacked?"
No, man, she hacked y'all's brains.
So everybody, there's all these comments, people being like, "Oh my God, what's going on? Are you okay? What's going on?" And people really being concerned because they think that Dee Dee, and then of course the comments were also like, if Dee Dee's dead, what's happened to Gypsy? Because they know that she can't get out of her wheelchair.
Yeah.
So then, okay, and this is where I think Gypsy has gone off the rails. Okay.
Yeah.
She in the comment section of that post, "The bitch is dead," Gypsy writes, "I fucking slashed that fat pig and raped her sweet innocent daughter. Her screams were so loud. LOL." I think this was too much. I think it was too much. Shouldn't have wrote that. Okay, Gypsy? Whoa.
You know what it is? It's Gypsy is finally free. Yeah. And immediately is in her edgelord era.
Immediately.
She went right into her edgelord era, but also it's also one of those things, I think, and again, I'm not a psychologist, but just if I was going to Joe Rogan it.
Yeah.
I think that it's one of those deals where you get, what's the word? Not gatekeep.
Girl boss?
No. The thing, what's the big thing in St. Louis? The big arches. Where they're supposed to be like a gateway?
Yeah.
Yeah, gateway. So all right, you went, because she never thought about killing her mom, at least that we know of, right?
Well.
That we know of, until she goes and fucks this man in a bathroom of a theater. And then instantly she got a little taste and she was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna be kind of rebellious."
Yeah.
And all these different things. She's tried in the past, a little bit of rebellion, but it always seems like all of her plans were more along of how can I make it work? And then once she got a taste of rebellion, she just goes full hog until somebody smacks her back down. And yeah.
Okay, so listen.
She got the pop from the first one, and then she's like, well, that did numbers. And the dopamine had to have been going hard.
She was like, this is getting a lot of feedback. The algorithm's pushing this post.
Yeah, look at this. I'm to the top of everybody's feed.
So people start calling the house because, again, they see this thing on Facebook, and calls are going unanswered. Friends and neighbors are getting really like concerned, and the friends and neighbors that live nearby, they are like, oh, well, you know, they could have just gone away for like another medical thing, or because they're always leaving. But when they went and checked on the house, they saw that the modified car, because she had like a wheelchair car, was still in the driveway. And so they're like, well, where's Gypsy if that car is still here? And then they tried to look in the windows, but Dee Dee had put protective film on all of the windows, so you couldn't actually see inside.
Because that way you couldn't see Gypsy not using the wheelchair. And
so the friends and neighbors that live nearby all gathered around the house, but called 911. The police arrive. They had to wait for this is an incredible sentence. The police arrived. Everybody's outside. Okay. All the neighborhood is there. Everybody is there on the lawn, trying to look in the house, trying to figure out what's going on. The police are like, listen, we can't go in without a warrant, and they have to wait.
First time a cop's ever fucking said that.
But they allowed one of the neighbors present to climb through a window. The cops literally were like, yeah, go ahead. And so some guy climbs in the house and just says that the house is undisturbed, but there's no one there, and the wheelchairs are still present. And then he climbs back out the window, right? He doesn't explore the whole house. He's just like, it doesn't seem like anybody's home, whatever. But the cops let that guy do that. Incredible crime scene management.
This is all right, but remember, these are the same cops. Then they would when they were like, do a wellness check, and the cops are like, all right, let a guy climb through the window.
You seem well.
You seem fine, 23-year-old, 16-year-old.
When the warrant was issued, police entered the house and found Dee Dee's body.
Imagine being that dude, be like, nah, man, I went in there. All I saw were some empty wheelchairs. Nobody's there. This is just a mystery, y'all. And then the cops are like, we went to the second floor where we found the very large woman who was stabbed to death repeatedly quite a few days ago, who smelled like,
you didn't smell that. So immediately all the friends and family set up a GoFundMe account to help pay for funeral expenses and possibly to help Gypsy.
Honestly, our country's a fucking joke. Like, this lady just gets murdered and your first thought is fucking a GoFundMe. Like, how fast we make GoFundMes drives me insane.
Okay, so anyway, we're skipping past this complaint of yours. But while the police are interviewing neighbors and friends and stuff to say, like, what the fuck, what's going on, they end up talking to that friend, Gypsy's friend, Amanda, or at least I forget.
The one you Chekhov's gunned earlier.
Yeah.
Alyssa.
Leah?
Leah.
I don't remember.
I think it was Leah.
It was something with an A. She told them that Gypsy had been talking to this guy online. Mm-hmm. And that she had, like, I guess a screenshot or a thing on her phone was like, this is who he is. Like, Gypsy had sent her a screenshot or showed her like the Facebook page. Oh, okay. So the police do something and are like, okay, we're going to track this IP address. And they found the accounts, and that's turned up Wisconsin. They figured out he was in Wisconsin. And the next day, police agencies reach out to his family. And turns out that Gypsy and he had fled to Wisconsin and moved in with their family. His parents didn't know, like, anything had happened. So all of a sudden the police are there and they're like, they're both being charged with murder and other felony criminal actions.
Wow.
So the news that Gypsy was safe was greeted with relief. You know, with all the friends and family, they're like, "Oh, we're so glad she's happy."
Because everyone's assuming that she got kidnapped by an online predator.
Yeah, they're like, there was a $1 million bond on John. Go to John, and the sheriff had to come out and make an announcement. And I watched the video of this announcement, and it is wild. He comes out and he stands at the podium, and he's like talking about what's going on, and he says, the sheriff says, "Things are not always what they appear," right? And he's like, he starts to talk about the truth that Gypsy has never been sick. She's always been able to walk, and that her mother made her pretend otherwise. And then everybody was like, the fuck are you talking about? And he makes a statement, please stop donating to the GoFundMes until we gather further information.
What'd I say?
So what happens is during the trial, because Gypsy does get charged with murder along with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
They both get charged with murder.
But only one of his personalities gets charged.
Whoa. But what happens is, as they're doing discovery, as one does, they start to see what the fuck happened to Gypsy.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody knows at this point, from the public's facing, what happened to Gypsy. So it went from like everybody being really mad that she like killed her mom and that she was a liar and she could walk, and like everybody in the town that knew her had turned and was like, I can't believe she was lying this whole time, blah, 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 blah. And then rapidly, she went from violent murderer to long-term victim of child abuse. And people were like, wait, what the fuck? Because nobody knew what Munchausen's by proxy was in this area, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that happens a lot. And Gypsy's lawyers were obtaining medical records from Louisiana. They're doing all this discovery. They're pulling all these records and they're putting together the pieces, and they can't believe what they're seeing, right? Like, one of the things that her lawyer said is that when she went to county jail while she was waiting all for the arraignment and everything, she actually gained 14 pounds. And he's like, listen, I've been a public defender for decades. Every one of my clients lost weight when they went into county jail. How the fuck did she gain weight?
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is an insane, like, this girl is so sick.
Yeah.
So Godejohn faced lots of severe charges. The prosecutors contended that he initiated the murder plot. Both he and Gypsy agreed that he was the one that actually killed Dee Dee. He admitted to it. He admitted that he did it. He never admitted that it was fully his plan. He said he was just so in love with Gypsy. He was doing what she said, and she said he's the one that brought it up as a way to get away from her.
Yeah.
Her plea bargain agreement didn't require her to testify against him. That was something. So, like, she never actually went on trial against him in that way.
Yeah. I wonder if she even would have.
I mean,
maybe. I think she maybe, but like, I mean, again, we're talking about two people who are having severe issues.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip most of this so we can get to the end. Gypsy testified on the trial's third day, her trial, and said that she indeed suggested that he kill Dee Dee to end her mother's abuse, but she had also considered getting pregnant by him and had hoped that when she was carrying his child, Dee Dee would have to accept him. He didn't like this plan. He liked the murder plan better. She was really into this plan, so she was like stealing baby clothes from Walmart and like trying to like create this pregnancy plan, but he was like, no, I want to kill
also
your mom.
Like, knowing Dee Dee, she would have just poisoned her. Like, she would have just put plan B into her food or something.
Yeah.
Like, she would have done that, which is that thing that that Trump guy did.
Yeah. After 4 days, the case was sent to a jury. After approximately 2 hours of deliberation, they returned the verdict that John was found guilty of first-degree murder and armed criminal action. In February 2019, he was sentenced to life in prison for a murder conviction. The only possible option prosecutors had declined to seek the death penalty. He received a sentence of 25 years on that charge, which is concurrent with his life sentence. So he was fully charged. The only thing is they didn't give him the death penalty.
Yep. I mean, which is like, here's the thing. Out of these two, Nicholas should be in jail. Yep. Like, he is a violent guy who stabbed somebody 17 times. And he also traveled 1,000 miles to bang a girl in a wheelchair in a theater and then go watch the live action Cinderella.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're growing from with this.
Gypsy herself accepted a plea bargain agreement and was sentenced to 10 years in prison for her part.
Okay.
Gypsy Rose, quote, this is a quote, "I feel like I am more free in prison than I ever was living with my mom, because now I'm allowed to just live a life like a normal woman." That she did an interview with like 2020 after being in prison for a while. Yeah. And she is doing better than ever. She's like gained weight. She is doing online schooling. She gets to shower. You know, like, she's just like, this is the best. And I'm like, this is the most tragic fucking statement. Yeah. Gypsy is currently serving her sentence in a Missouri Correctional Center. She didn't talk to media until she had signed the plea deal, but when she did, she told BuzzFeed reporter Michelle Dean that she had been able to research Munchausen's symptom by proxy on prison computers, and that she felt, based on what she saw, that her mother had every symptom. Gypsy says she had believed Dee Dee's claim that she had cancer, even though she knew she could walk and eat solid foods, leading her to agree to the head shavings and all of the actions. She just thought her mom was right, even though she knew.
Well, you want to believe your mom.
Yeah. So when the BuzzFeed gal, Dean, asked her what made her want to escape the situation, Gypsy recalled that in 2011 incident at the science fiction convention made her wonder why she wasn't allowed to have friends her own age. And that was, like she said, like a sparking moment. Victims of Munchausen by proxy often avoid doctors and hospitals later in their lives because of lingering trust issues.
Yep.
According to her family, Gypsy also exhibits at times the same sociopathic manipulative behaviors as her mother. In my mind, I say you only have one role model and you're isolated.
Yeah.
It's kind of like bound to happen.
Yeah.
And they do believe that she has post-traumatic stress disorder, which again, of course. So Dee Dee's family in Louisiana, who had confronted her about the treatment of Gypsy for years before, did not regret her death. Her father, stepmother, and nephew, who first shared details about Gypsy's actual health when she first began using the wheelchair, all later said that Dee Dee deserved her fate and Gypsy has been punished enough and as much as ever she needed to be. Gypsy is set to be released from prison on December 28th, 2023. She'll have served 85% of her 10-year sentence. She's being released early. And the final thing I have to tell you, they did an interview with Dee Dee's parents, the father and the stepmother.
Okay. The stepmom that she tried to poison with Roundup.
Roundup stepmom.
Okay. I'm never letting that go.
No, don't.
Because now I know.
After everything happened,
they
reached out to Dee Dee's family about the final process you have to go through, right? And none of the siblings or the parents wanted to deal with anything. They were forced, basically, to accept her ashes because they wouldn't do any burial. They wouldn't have a ceremony. They wouldn't do anything. And the father and the stepmother flushed Dee Dee's ashes down the toilet.
God damn. She got flushed?
She was flushed down the toilet. Every person in the family refused to pay for a funeral. And the father said, who cares? Just flush her. And so the father and the stepmother, when the ashes showed up at the house, they just flushed them down the toilet. They called their other kids and said, this is what we're doing. And they all said, yeah, fuck her.
That's incredible. She got the goldfish treatment.
Dude.
So, kind of near the beginning of this, we started talking when it was very clear that it was Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah.
It reminded me of something because, you're talking about how like a lot of people don't know what Munchausen by proxy is, except I always knew what it was.
What?
So I had to Google Munchausen's Wishbone episode.
No.
Do you remember Wishbone?
Yes, of course I know Wishbone.
For our listeners, that was a PBS series with a Jack Russell Terrier named Wishbone.
Who loved reading books.
He loved reading books, and this little dog would reenact all these different books.
It was great.
And he would do Robin Hood, he would do Ivanhoe, he would do all these different Red Badge of Courage, all these different books.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah. There's an episode called The Canine Cure.
No.
It's from season 1.
This is my punishment for putting this out onto you. You're about to ruin Wishbone.
Season 1, episode 21.
Okay.
It originally aired on November 6, 1995.
Yeah.
Now, this is based on the book. Sorry, the story in this episode, which is like, here's what's crazy. Every other Wishbone is like Charles Dickens, right?
Yeah.
It's some shit you've heard of.
Wear a little top hat.
Yeah. But it's like the Christmas story or one of these different things. It's all of these different Christmas Carol. It's all these different ones that are very well known, recontextualized through Wishbone.
Yeah.
You've at least heard of them. Have you ever heard of The Imaginary Invalid by Molière?
No.
That's a French writer.
Okay.
And it's a French play, actually, from the mid to late 17th century. So this is like a French play from the 1670s.
All right.
So this whole episode is based around this play.
Okay.
And every time this type of stuff happens, Wishbone ties in. Again, this is for our listeners who don't know or maybe don't quite remember. Wishbone ties in a thing that's happening in the world around him to a specific story.
Oh, no.
So they have to tie in the story of the imaginary invalid, which is about someone who is a hypochondriac.
Okay.
And there's like other like side things to it. Now, they tell the story of Wishbone's owner, Joe, the child, who has a new friend named Nathaniel Bobaleski.
All right.
Now, Nathaniel comes over to Joe's house for a sleepover.
Great.
And they're there. They're having a good time. Nathaniel meets Wishbone.
Eat some bagel
Normal
bites.
kid gives Wishbone a cookie.
Sunny D.
Nathaniel's mom is there.
All right.
And then she's talking to Joe's mom.
All right.
And she's handing over the list of everything Nathaniel's allergic to.
Oh, it's not Sunny D. You're not allowed to have Sunny D.
And that's when she notices the dog bowl.
What?
And she goes, oh, I forgot. He's also allergic to dogs.
What?
So Wishbone is then sent outside and tied to a tree.
No.
Because Wishbone has to stay outside for the rest of the episode because Nathaniel's mom is adamant that Nathaniel is allergic to this laundry list of things.
But she just handwrote it on that list.
She handed it onto the list the same way Dee Dee had a list that she's just adding it on to.
Oh, my God.
So as this keeps happening, there's just more and more crazy stuff. So the one thing is Nathaniel explains that he had asthma when he was born. And since then, his mom has been like hyper vigilant about everything. Mm-hmm. She also explained, Ellen, who's the mom, also explains that she also worries about Joe. And Joe might have somebody have to take care of her. All right. Anyway, they are playing. Wishbone's outside. He starts thinking about this play while tied to a tree.
Oh, my God.
And he knows that Nathaniel is not allergic to him.
Yeah.
So Wishbone struggles and escapes the bond of the tree.
Okay.
Where he sneaks inside. And then he crawls in bed with next to Nathaniel.
Yeah, you got to get snuggles.
While they even show you here, you can see it. They have a humidifier because there's all this different. Because like that, I remember watching this. I was in like 5th grade. I was like 10 years old. I remembered how insane it was because like the mom. Nathaniel's mom is clearly portrayed as like a psycho. Like she keeps like, oh no, he has to have a humidifier and here's his inhaler and here's like this kid's coming with a list.
Yeah.
And it's like a deep list to the point where I'm like, why are you even letting him sleep over?
Why are you having a sleepover at this point?
So, so Wishbone breaks into the house.
Okay.
And the next morning, quote, Joe wakes up to find Wishbone in Nathaniel's bed.
Oh no.
Nathaniel wakes up and tells Joe that he feels fine. And then Wishbone sneezes. That's when Nathaniel realizes Wishbone has slept there the entire time. Joe then explains to Nathaniel that you're clearly not allergic to dogs.
Oh, no.
Nathaniel accepts this and then crosses the dogs part off of the list. And then they all just go to the park together. So they left out whatever happens to them next.
Oh, my gosh.
But I'm telling you, in 1995, they were like, listen, sometimes moms lie about a gluten allergy.
Whoa.
And it's used to abuse a child.
Holy shit.
But it's all based on this story, The Imaginary Invalid, which I didn't really read too much of a synopsis about. The Imaginary Invalid centers around Argon, a hypochondriac, and him trying to figure out who really loves him while also betrothing his daughter to a lawyer so he doesn't have to pay the bills.
Bro, what the fuck did you just say?
That's the synopsis according to the Wishbone wiki at wishbone.fandom.com. Yep.
Yeah.
I do remember this too because like Wishbone's dressed in like 16th century like.
Oh my god, little powdered wig maybe?
Yeah, no, but the tall one.
Yeah, the big
it's
ones.
very
with
Versailles.
Like a sailboat in it.
Yeah, no, but it's like Versailles. Imagine
shit.
Wishbone at Versailles.
I would love Wishbone at Versailles.
Yeah, and the whole thing is
so fucktober, huh?
Fucked. Yeah.
Fucktober.
Yeah.
But listen, the main reason I wanted to do this episode was because she's getting out. She's getting out early.
Yeah.
She's getting out. She served her time. Girl's gonna be free. And I like that for her. You know, after everything she's been through, I hope she gets a lot of support on the back end, you know?
Yeah. Well.
Any other thoughts?
I'm depressed.
Yeah.
This was an insanely dark episode.
Yeah.
My apologies to the listeners.
I'm sorry. October.
We talked a lot early on about how much we love to bring joy to their lives on a Monday.
Oh, man.
Like, legit.
Yeah. I didn't tell you to say that stuff.
No, you didn't.
I should have warned you.
You really should have.
Should have been like, hey, maybe not this Monday.
Yeah.
This Monday is going to be a rough Monday.
Yeah. So, fuck. Yeah, I'm good.
Are you excited to read A Court of Thorn and Roses or whatever it's called?
It's gonna be better than this.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm not gonna do another episode like this. I don't like any true crimey stuff like this.
Yeah, we're never. Can she shake my hand?
Yeah.
Never again.
Okay.
Never again.
I didn't say anything. I just shook a hand.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had my fingers crossed.
I don't.
No,
care.
I don't like true crimey stuff too much.
Yeah, I am. But
I do like what? Revenge.
I'm glad Dee Dee's dead.
Yeah. Down a fucking toilet in Louisiana.
Flush down a Louisiana toilet.
Yep.
All right. So with that, Mrs. P, I'm going to say my final words.
Okay, what's your final words?
I want a divorce.
No.